Hi everybody. So I promised you guys that I was gonna make a video about my driving for Via, and it took me a little longer than I promised, but here it is. This is the video. I'm gonna talk about my experience so far and what I think about it, and it might get all over the place, but I'm gonna try to be as concisive as possible and try to give you guys a little more information besides the video about renting the car. As you guys know, I just released that one about the car, and I'm gonna post a link right here up here for you guys to make sure to check it out, the process to rent the car. And then I will also post about the TLC license, that I also have a video about my experience with the TLC license. I'll also put it up here. And the first thing I do is I go to my van. I check out the van. I see if everything's clean. I replenish the candy because I generally have candy in the van. I thought it was ironic because I drive a van. I got some candy and I put it in there. Anyway, then I turn on my van, right? I start the app, the Via app, and the app has two choices, Via Blue and Via Flex. The Via Flex is going to be really quick talking about it because I have never really used it, but the Via Blue is going to take a little longer. I'm going to explain both of them kind of like separately. So let me separate them into two categories. I was just filming the Flex session of it, but I realized that it's gonna be better understood if I first talk about the Blue. So basically you turn on your app and then it's gonna have the Blue mode, which is the hourly pay. So once you are registered with Via, they will send you text messages at like the evening of the day before of the next shift. So today they send me text messages saying how much I possibly can make tomorrow. So they have shifts of 3, 5, 7, and 10 hours. And then they have different rates for each one of them depending on your vehicle size and all those things. So I am at the Mercedes mattress. So right now I'm getting the most money that they pay for the cars because it seems like the mattress has the highest pay. So I'm doing the highest pay. So the highest pay right now for me, because I'm a new driver, I'm within the first month still. I've been ranging between the lowest is $295 for the 10 hours, and the highest I've seen so far was $320. So if I drive 10 hours in the window time shift that they give us, I will make that guaranteed price. So their window of opportunity for the 10 hours during the week is 7 in the morning to 7 at night. So if I drive 10 hours between 7 and 7, I'll make that guaranteed amount. And on weekends generally is a little later. It's like 9:30 to like 12 or 9 o'clock to like 12:30. It really depends, but it's a later window. And then you have the smaller pays, which is like the 3 hour, the 7 hour, the 5 hour. So the 3 hour pays on an average of 140. The 5 hour pays on an average 190 to 200, and then the 7 hour pays on an average of 250. So it's not super bad. It's really okay, but it really, what catches you is the window of time, because I can do 10 hours, but I'll get to the challenges of these hours in a little bit. But that's how the pay works as far as the window of time. And if you don't do the window of shifts, they also have like sporadic higher hours. The average is $20 per hour, but if you work, let's say, I'm going to give you an example, a very common surge hour is 8:30 to 9:30. Generally they pay $40 or $30 for that hour. Another very common surge hour is 6:30 to 7:30. So 6:30 to 7:30 they pay $50. I haven't seen a higher surge price for the hourly above 50, 51. So That's kind of how they do it. So if you're not doing that 10-hour shift, you still have the chance to do those more expensive hours and add, and potentially not driving just the shift, driving a little later. So a lot of people do that. They drive a little later because the 7-hour shift starts at 2 or 3 o'clock. So you do 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then you get the higher hours after that and things like that. So people do their math, and then they make accommodate the earnings for what they want. So that's the first thing about Via Blue. Making the calculations and see what shifts or hourlies, what works best for you for your time. All right, so when you turn on the Blue, it will tell you to go somewhere, right, in a city or whatever. So you start driving that direction, and then what happens is, before even you get there, depending on the day of the week, obviously, on the weekend, I managed to get to the terminal. But before you even cross the bridge, a passenger is going to ding on the app. So it's basically the same thing as using a GPS. It's gonna give you the blue line. You're gonna follow it, with the difference that now it's gonna pop up like a little icon with a little head, and it's gonna be in either side of the street. And then when you pick them up, they're gonna be on that side of the street. The drop-off, don't necessarily drop them off on the side that they requested. The drop-off is really a random depending on the next pickup. But the pickups are pretty true to the side of the street that the passenger is. Keep that in mind. If you are going to drive for Via, the pickup, you need to pick them up at the side of the street that the icon shows up. And then as soon as your first passenger gets into your car, your pay starts. However, it starts based on the time that that icon of that request showed up. It's not when you click on your app, say, hey, the passenger is inside. No, it's when the passenger showed up available to you. So if you are a little late to make it into your shift, and I'll explain that in a personal story. But if you're a little late and you get your passenger past the time that you're supposed to start in your head, right? It will still give you a couple of minutes, because it's not based on the passenger entering the car. It's based on the passenger popping up on your GPS. Pick up your passenger, he or her gets in. You drive them to wherever their location is. You drop them off, and then you keep driving, and it keeps telling you to go to that terminal. Is eternally you have a terminal that you need to head to, but then in between you're always gonna get passengers. So you barely ever gonna manage to get to that terminal. And when you do, you just click I'm here, and then you hang out and you wait, and then somebody else gonna pop up on your GPS, and then you just say I'm going there, and then you go. So basically that's the shift in a nutshell. The reality of things is you're barely ever gonna get to that terminal, and you're probably gonna have passengers back to back. And depending on the time of the day, especially in Manhattan, during peak hours of going to work and going back from work, so it's probably like 8 a.m. through 10 a.m. and then again 3:30 through like 7 or 6, you are gonna have pretty full van, a lot of pickups. And during the weekend, you don't really have a peak hour for passengers, but you will have a peak hour or peak moments for families. You're gonna have a lot of families. You're gonna have a lot of like +1s, +2s, +3s, +5s. Yesterday I had a +5. I had 6 people in the car. So a full van, but it only counts as one ride. So that's the other thing that you have to keep in mind as a new driver. You have the promotions, right? So the promotion requires 100 pickups. It's not difficult to do the 100 pickups. If you work 2-3 days, you get them done. But if you work the weekend, you will have a lot of people who will be will have somebody with them. I'm gonna try to not be fancy with the wording here because anyway, so you're gonna have a lot of people who are with their family members, with their friends, and it only counts the one person who's paying. So the one person who's paying for the ride is the one that's gonna count as a ride. So if you start working, let's say on a Friday, just working Saturday and Sunday is not gonna help you to do your 100 pickups or 150 pickups, or how many pickups it's required for you to get that via promotion. So keep that in mind. Work during the week, especially Mondays. Mondays are a very, 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 very high paying day. So you should definitely work on Mondays. Don't do like me. Today's a Monday and I'm here at home, but I have a final tomorrow, so I have a good excuse. But yeah, so the reality of things is you're never gonna get to the to the terminal, or 99% of the time you're not gonna get to the terminal if it's during the week. But if you do, it's pretty easy. It's very chill. And I'm gonna go and move on now to the I'm probably gonna do flex next, and then I'm gonna do the pros and cons of doing this job. It's going to be a quick one because I only used it once and it didn't work out for me, basically. So, as I said, on Sundays it's pretty slow as far as quantity of pickups. It's mostly like families and things like that, and it's a lot of private rides. So I didn't know that. It was my very first Sunday, and I decided to use Flex because naturally, you know, that Sunday is a lazy day. So I decided to use Flex. What basically happened was I went to Flex. I got no calls because Flex is kind of like Uber and Lyft. You get the money by the rides, and I got no rides for a long time. And then after a certain while, it popped up on my cell phone saying, "Hey, do you want to come to Blue? Right now we're paying $30 for this hour." And then I accepted it, and then I started doing Blue. And then after a couple of hours, it returned me automatically into Flex, which I got no calls again. And then after 20-15 minutes, he asked me to come to Blue again because they were paying so much. And then I went back. So it seems like Flex is not very popular with Via. And also, when you are on Blue, you do private runs on your hourly. So I guess that they are tossing. I'm not sure that's. Oh, shit, sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm not sure that this is happening because a lot of people don't use Flex, so they have to toss those private rides into the Blue mode. I don't know what the reality behind it, what is the true behind it, but regardless, I got no rides during Flex times, and I noticed that you go back and forth from Flex into Blue, which means that yeah, you potentially, if you're doing Flex and you're getting rides and then you get a break and then you go into Blue, it's great. But if you're not getting any rides on Flex and you're sporadically coming into Blue, you're not only like making very little money, but you're actually not even doing the shifts because it keeps popping in and popping out. So you can't do the shifts and get like that flat rate. You're gonna get like crumbles. So at this point, I think that for me, Flex didn't work out. It wasn't something that I was interested in. I think that Flex is not very popular. I'm not sure if it will be, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't try, but I am just thinking that right now it's not very popular for Via, and I am not using it. Pros and cons. All right, definitely I'm gonna go through the pros first because in my most honest opinion, for me, I have more cons than pros at this point. So the pros for me is the fact that I got to see the city in a way that I've never seen before. I drive through the same areas several times a day. So I got to get to know the city, the west side. I'm not used to the west side. I never go to the west side. Brooklyn, I never go to Brooklyn. I'm getting to know these areas. I'm getting to know my city, and that's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that I pass through areas that I've never been. I love the fact that I see like buildings that I've never seen before. Oh my God, I was at awe. Um, I saw this beautiful church on 112 in Amsterdam that I never seen before. I've been in New York for 15 years. I didn't know it was there. So that's definitely a pro for me that I get to drive in the city and get to see things I've never seen before. Get to get acquainted with boroughs that I never been very, into before. Get to see the different people, so you can see like you go to certain areas and see the demographic. You can really recognize the demographic. um, I love that part. Another pro that I found about driving via is you get to know a lot of people. You have very good conversations sometimes, not so good sometimes, but it's really nice to interact with people. I really like doing that. I enjoy very much meeting all of these people and getting a close know about their lives and talk about their day and things like that, which is a huge thing for a cab driver, right? If you're a cab driver, you need to be interested a little bit in people, né? In networking. So that I love so much. Another pro, um, I get to like, sit around and drive and just do my thing, be on the AC all day and just drive. Sometimes I like driving, so it's nice, it's nice for me. Um, there are a lot of good things about being in the car all day and getting to know people, driving places and whatnot. But now I'm gonna go to the cons because for me, as of now, there is a huge, 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 huge uh, con that make me not wanna do this job anymore. Let me, well, bathrooms. So I'm a girl, so biology and nature, do not help me out with being able to be very creative on how I'm going to deal with that basic need. And it's a huge con for me because I literally sit on that car and I'm counting the hours based on bathroom breaks, basically. So I sit on the car, turn on my car. I know, okay, I just went to the bathroom. Let's drive. And then I see myself driving 5, 6 hours and not going to the bathroom. And when I do have to go, the way that the VIA thing works is just not very optimum for the driver for brakes, because you do have the option of brakes, but the problem with the option of brakes is that it will only release you for the brake after you drop off the people. So yeah, it makes sense. You shouldn't have anybody in your car. However, if you have nobody in your car and a call pops up on your GPS, now you're stuck. You have to pick up that person, take them to wherever they are going, and then you get a break. So I'm gonna give you an example. I found some places that have bathrooms that I can use fairly quickly, and there are parking spots that I can use, because you can't only think about the bathroom. You need to know where to park that ginormous van, right? So there's 3 places that I use currently. Pier 40, which you just go in, you get your ticket, you go to the bathroom, you get out, and if it's under a certain amount of time, you don't pay for the parking, which is great. 125th and Broadway, there's a McDonald's that they do not lock the door, so I can go over there. Obviously, I get my lunch there. most of the time. And then I go to the bathroom there. And then there is in Queens, 100, no, not 100, sorry. It's in Queens, 21st Street, and I don't know the avenue, but it's on 21st Street, way going to Astoria Park. There's another McDonald's. That one, they do lock the door and you do have to order and then ask the cashier for the key. I did find another place in Brooklyn, which is another McDonald's, and there's a PC Richards as well in Brooklyn. But they are all near the Barclays Center. I just don't know the address. It's just like in the area of the Barclays Center, you have that. And there is also in Brooklyn a Staples in 4th Avenue and 3rd Street or something like that. And I go to the bathroom over there too. So those are specific locations where I can park the car and go to the bathroom. So I have to be calculating after 3 or 4 hours of driving, where is my passenger going? Oh, this passenger is going uptown to 120th Street. Let me place a brake here. And then you place the brake, and then you hope that other passengers don't pop up in between, because they do that. If you post to get a break or to finish your shift, and you only have one passenger, if that passenger is going to a really, really far away area, anybody who's going in between that line, they will pop it up, right? And then now you added 2 to 5 minutes to your route because you stop and you wait for your passenger. Your passenger has 2 minutes to show up. So not all the time the passengers are at the corner when you get there. And if you have to pee, it really sucks, because you really want to take that break. And when you do take that break, if you're going somewhere that it's not favorable as far as bathroom, now you have to drive 10, 20, 15 minutes, how long minutes are to get to that bathroom, to use the bathroom, to eat something. And it's frustrating because you have to make up for that time, because that is a non-paid break. So you can relate to this. Imagine you're working in your office, and every time you go to the bathroom is never the same place. You always have to walk another 15 minutes, 10 minutes to go to the bathroom, right? And every time you go to the bathroom means that in the end of your work day, you need to work those minutes that you use the bathroom. You see how that doesn't make sense? Like, can you imagine you going to work in your office and they say, hey, every time you go to the bathroom, we're going to count those minutes and you're going to work after your shift to make up the minutes that you went to the bathroom. And by the way, the bathroom is not going to be next door. The bathroom is going to be across the street. Or the next time you go, the bathroom is going to be 2 blocks down. So it's really ludicrous to me how they do not have a bathroom system for the drivers. 2 days ago, I had a major headache finishing my shift because I have been drinking so little water in order to hold and to not go to the bathroom and not take the breaks and try to work 10 hours without going to the bathroom. That is very, 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 very hurtful to my health, I think. And that's the biggest problem that I find. They need to find a way to work with the drivers to make sure that the drivers can use their basic needs. This is a health issue, and I am very, 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 very worried about that. That's the biggest thing for me, and that's the biggest thing that makes me not want to drive every single day, because everything else is kind of fine, but that is the biggest problem for me. Obviously, there are other little things, as I said, like sometimes you want to finish your shift and you only have one ride, but then they sneak in a couple of other rides, which sucks, but that's minor because you're making the hours anyways, you're making the money, so that's okay. Sometimes you do want to finish a certain time, but it's kind of impossible because you have a passenger who's going to Brooklyn now and the bridge is a traffic jam, but that's the nature of the beast, and that's a con that everybody would expect because you are on the business of driving around and you're gonna have traffic, so that's not a problem per se. And then you have the police and outside kind of stuff. You see other drivers who don't respect um, the laws of transit, and they still like get pissed at you because you are respecting them. You have government cars who are very, very, very rude. I've been shoved around by like USPS trucks, which they're supposed to be driving very nicely, because they are, freaking government. But no, they drive just like a cab, like badly. But anyways, okay. But anyways, yeah. Um, there are minor things. There are cons, and every job they're gonna have it. But the biggest, all right, okay. The biggest thing right now, for me, is the bathroom. The bathroom thing is just so bad. Um, I wish there was another way, basically, like something that they could do about that. I have one last mention, right? For all the writers. Okay, what is this happening with my hair? I don't know. Anyway, for all the writers out there, love you all. This whole VIA thing is so much fun. Um, Generally, you guys are really polite, really great, and really understanding the nature of the beast. However, there are some, I don't want to single out a generation or any group of people, culture, nothing. I'm just saying that there are some people, because I've seen across the spectrum. Um, you need to understand this is a shared ride situation, right? Everybody understands the nature of the beast. Everybody understands where they're coming from and why it's so cheap, because it's a really cheap way of mass transportation, right? So things that I've seen that I wish the passengers would try to be more understanding, or stop pretending they don't know about this, right? So one, you're supposed to be um, not door to door, right? It's not a door to door service. So don't be upset at your driver if your driver's not right in front of you when you when you are waiting for them on the corner, because not always they're gonna pick up right in front of you, because it really depends on if they're going straight in a line and you are in that corner, but then now you have another pickup like in the same street but kind of like in the other corner. It will tell the driver to turn, and essentially may inconveniencing the passenger to cross the street and get the ride. So most of the time, if you don't have your driver right in front of you, it's because it's not their fault. It's mostly because the app told them to turn, told them to drop you off in a different location than you expected. The drivers are not going to do those things to you because they want to. In the end of the day, we do hourly rates if we're doing the VIA Share Blue, so it really doesn't serve us any purpose to upset a passenger for no reason. We are still getting the money, and just so we can do the best service we can. Another thing, it's a share ride again. So when you come in and you're sitting down by a door and somebody else comes in, I understand it's annoying to have to unbuckle and having to move and do the dancing chairs thing, but that's the nature of this. You're getting into a van, and it's not nice to put other people at risk, making them go around where the cars are going just because you don't want to hop a seat. So try to be considerate if you are watching this and you are a VIA rider. Try to be considerate when you are in the van, and make sure that you give this space to people to come in a safe manner, rather than just don't want to move, I want to stay in the seat, and then have people having to be in the side where the cars are crossing and things like that. It's very unsafe. But anyway, so those are the things that I wanted to talk about. I'm pretty sure I'm going to remember more things to talk about later. I'll make another video, I don't know. But the next video I'm thinking about doing is going to be about questions and answers that I went through email with a person who sent me one, and thank you all for sending me personal emails. I love answering all your questions. And with that note, don't forget, post questions in the comment section, post ideas, post things that you want to say, your experience with VIA. If you're thinking about driving for VIA, if you have any questions, post there. If you have any comments with your experience, post there. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the video. Subscribe to me, not to the video. And I'll see you guys later. I'm trying to post as many videos as I can this week because I'm gonna be away next weekend and the weekend after that. But I will try to post the videos for the Q&A very soon. And I hope this helped you guys. And if it didn't, post a comment. If it didn't and you have more questions, post the questions and I'll answer. All right? So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.